Hello everyone, Skippy The Loremaster here. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking to you about why the Elder Scrolls universe is my single favorite fictional universe of all time. Now, this topic is very personal to me as I started playing the Elder Scrolls series with Skyrim, which, if you don't know what the Elder Scrolls series is, it's a series of video games created by Bethesda Game Studios. And also, Elder Scrolls Online is created by ZeniMax Online Studios, which is a game developing studio stationed in Rockville, Maryland. And I've been playing Skyrim, since I was 11 years old, and it was one of the first games that I actually truly delved into and just got so immersed into that I just felt I needed to make this video. And it's actually the reason why I got my name, Skippy the Loremaster, right? Skippy the Loremaster, Skippy being obviously a nickname that I've had since I was very little. But Loremaster, from the conversations I've had with other people that love the Elder Scrolls universe, and they've told me that my knowledge of the Elder Scrolls, granted, I don't think I'm necessarily to that level of a lore master, okay? But and I'm not going to say I know everything about Elder Scrolls, because I don't. And that's what also makes it such a tremendous universe. Is it's so vast and so ever expansive that there's no way that no one, or I'm sorry, one single person can know everything. Even some of the creators have admitted to not knowing everything. But people have called me, the lore master before, because of our discussions with the Elder Scrolls universe. And today I'm going to discuss, the reasoning behind why I think it's such a tremendous universe to delve into. And that's not hating on any of those other tremendous fictional universes throughout the many years of fantasy and mythological creations by humans, right? It's the myth making reality, if that makes sense. And everything starting with, like, Lord of the Rings, right, with J.R.R. Tolkien, I'm just absolutely he's an absolute hero of mine, and his vision was beautiful, and there's lots of inspirations in the Elder Scrolls behind it. And everyone from him, with Lord of the Rings, to to Harry Potter, to Star Wars. I even have baby Yoda pajamas on right now. And George R.R. Martin, and several other great universes that are so in depth. But today I'm going to discuss why I believe that the Elder Scrolls is the absolute best. Okay, and that can be anything from the ever expansive lore, the unending possibilities, the fact that for almost all instances there's not one single truth behind the lore that goes with the notion of the unreliable narrator, right? This thought that we live our own adventures, and that becomes the story, right? You see, the thing with the Elder Scrolls universe is there's not one single person that creates the story, right? There's not one person with a vision. And while I'm not dogging on J.R.R. Tolkien, right? Because he's that one person with that great vision that saw it through, and it was absolutely tremendous what he created, with his own bare hands, right? And obviously with the criticism of C.S. Lewis and other friends of his, but Elder Scrolls universe, it's created by the people, and we're all lore masters in that way. When we play the game, we become lore masters. We become the creators of the universe, the creators of our own story set within that universe. And there is a certain structure that's obviously provided by the creators ranging from Todd Howard, who I just absolutely idolize, to Michael Kirkbride, of course, who wrote lots of the lore, and still writes a lot of unofficial lore, but sometimes gets canonized, right? Or I should say, it becomes like canon, right? And then Lord Sheik, I think, I always pronounce his name wrong. Elder Scrolls Online, I adore his work. And then the recent Elder Scrolls Online with he's known in the industry as Lemon Turtle. It's kind of funny, but those are some genius people, and all the other great writers that have worked at Bethesda over the many years. that have introduced the lore and set the structure for fans and people within the community to create their own lore, right? And that's just what's so beautiful about it, because, you know, I call myself Skippy the Loremaster, but really it's all you that are the lore masters that play the Elder Scrolls. You know, you create your own adventures, and you go off on that road. And that's one of the reasons why I just absolutely love it, is that sense of the unreliable narrator. You know, there's not one definitive truth, you know. But see, like, I'll give you a perfect example. There's a race of people in the game, which, by the way, there are dozens of races, right, all over the place. Well, when I say dozens, I mean, like, there are several different sub races of different groups like that, and it's so fascinating, right, to look at it like that. Several religions, several cultures, several, you know, diverse biomes, all this kinds of stuff, and it's several origin stories. Oh my gosh, it's awesome. And several gods, several realms, right, you know. But anyway, I digress. But, you know, you have these groups of people, right, that are constantly interacting with each other, right? They're constantly interacting with each other, and that can create lots of different dynamics, and that can create lots of political upheaval, and you know, and lots of other things that is just so fascinating. You know, it's just so insanely fascinating. And well, so let me just give you a general outline of the lore. So basically, the Elder Scrolls universe takes place mostly on the continent of Tamriel, which is obviously in its own, you know, universe, right? It's a different place. And this continent of Tamriel is on the planet, or on, you know, the world of Nirn. Nirn was a planet created by the god Lorkhan, who siphoned the powers of what we now know as the Eight Divines to create this universe, kind of in a hidden way a little bit. And Nirn is within the realm of what's called Mundus, which was a plane also created by Lorkhan as well. And then the outlying realm is going to be Aetherius. And, you know, and then also there's several different pocket dimensions with like the Oblivion realms, right? Or the realms of Oblivion, which I should say, which are the realms of the 15 Daedric princes, right? 16 sometimes, right? We're gonna have to get to that later, but and these Daedric princes, think of it like this: a simple way of putting it, take like the devil, right, and then split him into 15 different beings, right, and take all of his cruelty and his malice and all of his different emotions and different drives and things like that, and put it into each of these different 15 Daedric princes. So, for instance, one of them, which is my personal favorite, okay, is the Daedric Prince of Madness, and his name is Sheogorath. He's my favorite, okay? I actually have a little Funko Pop for him, okay? Sheogorath, right? Now, and then, oh, he failed. And then, so Sheogorath is a tremendous Daedric Prince, right? Who's known as the Daedric Prince of Madness, and just absolutely, he's an absolute insane, right? And he inspires madness and kind of almost gives madness in a way to people in the world. And then, you know, then there's the Daedric Prince Moloch Ball, who's the Daedric Prince of Domination and also Rape. I know, bad things. And then, you know, there's the Daedric Prince of Destruction and Change, which is Mehrunes Dagon. And there are several other ones, you know, the Daedric Prince of Pestilence, the Daedric Prince of Debauchery, right? The Daedric Prince, which is actually one of my favorite, Daedric Prince of Debauchery, is Sanguine, right? And, you know, you have all these other different Daedric Princes that kind of make mortals, you know, do bad things, so to speak. And, you know, and they, you know, they're basically like the devil. You're always trying to, you know, make people, you know, do bad things, as I should say. And, you know, in Daedra, if I'm not mistaken, from what I remember, Daedra in you know, it translates to not our ancestors. Now, you see, so there are these several spirits, right? I believe they're known as the Et Ada. and they were created by the two primordial beings known as Padme and Anu. Anu is this god. It's kind of like a spirit or like a god of light and order, right? While I'm sorry, yeah, Anu is the god of light and order, while Padme is more like the god of like darkness and change and things like that. And Anu created the Aedra, which are the gods that most people consider like the good gods, I guess you could say. Although there's so many different differentiations between different cultures, you know, about which ones are good and which ones are bad, and you know, certain cultures worship the Daedra, right? Like the Dark Elves, they have worshipped different, like I think three, specifically the House of Three Daedra for a while. So you know, it really depends on your perspective, and that once again, there's no definitive like true evil, right, in the game, right? And that's just so fascinating because you know, if you go to the, you know, for instance, to the Nords and you say, hey, do you like Sheogorath? They're gonna be like, oh, he's evil, right? Stuff like that. But then if you go to the Dark Elves, you know, and you talk, say, you know, the Daedric Prince of Azura, right? Azura, which she isn't a completely evil Daedric Prince, because you see Padme and Anu basically in the process of creating the Daedra and the Aedra. Some of them had like, I guess like the blood had like melded or something, and the Daedric Princes, some of them are somewhat good, but they have capability of being, you know, evil. Azura's like that. Azura, you know, she is although when I say she in the typical term, they're gods, so they're higher beings than, you know, prescribing genders to them, so they're almost like you know, like they're both men and women, or both men and female at the same time. Now they, you know, they present themselves as either a man or a woman, but you know, they can change that appearance a lot right now. But anyway, and I digress once again. I tend to do that with this kind of stuff with Elder Scrolls lore. And yeah, and you know, there are so many different groups of people now. As for the regions and as for the countries, right? There's High Rock, which is all the way towards the northwest, which are the homes to the Bretons. Okay, now as for the different races, let me just describe the races first, I should say. So the races, it's made up between men, elves, which are known as Mer, right, and then beast folk. Right now, you see the men are made up of the Bretons, which are a mixture of the Needs, which were the precursors to men, right, and elves, right? I believe the Doreni elves, and that's why the Bretons kind of have generally magical properties to them. Then you have the Nords, which are almost like direct descendants of the, you know, of the Needs and things like that. And the Nords are like these haughty, you know, men. I guess that's what you would call me. I'm joking. Anyway, and then you have, you know, obviously the Imperials, right, which lived alongside and were enslaved by the Aliens, which were elves. I'll get to them in a minute. And then you have the oh yes, of course, how could I forget the Red Guard, who came from the island of Yokuda, who are separate lineage from the ones that came from Atmore or the Needs, right? And Red Guards, they are the ones that inhabit Hammerfell. They're great swordsmen, great mighty swordsmen. And then as far as the beast folk go, you have the Khajiit and you have the Argonians. The Khajiit are more like cat folk, and the Argonians are lizard folk. Right now, they're more anthropomorphic, and they're human-like, but they are like lizard, and they have different immunities and different things that they can resist, like disease and stuff like that. At least the Argonians can, and they live in the swamplands of Black Marsh and different things along those lines. And then you have the elves. Right now, you have the dark elves of Morrowind. You have the wood elves of Valenwood, and you have the high elves of Somerset Isles, right? And you also have elves that have, were less considered elves, I guess you could call them, the orcs, otherwise known as the Orsener, right? And the orcs are which is more so like, and it's very similar kind of to Lord of the Rings when you think about it, because the orcs in Lord of the Rings are basically corrupted elves. Morgoth had corrupted the elves, right? Well, the orcs in Elder Scrolls, and the Elder Scrolls series, basically, they had a god named Trinomac, okay, who was fighting this other deity named Boethia, who was a Daedric prince. And Boethia won and ate Trinomac. And then, well, to put it bluntly, pooped Trinomac out. You know, it like digested and pooped him out. And then that god became Malakath, which is a Daedric prince, right? And the tone of their skin, which is more like a kind of like a greenish, kind of a brownish sometimes, that is literal like dung that they're stained with. And the Malakath was the one that I guess created the orcs, but that also is up to interpretation, because you know some people say other different things, and you know, some people have different beliefs. So yeah, it's a wide ranging, and you know, and it's taken place. This universe has taken place over thousands of years with so many great battles and these you know massive events to save the universe or to save the world or to save their country or whatever. How's about this? In Skyrim alone, okay, you probably save the world in that game about 4 times, probably at least 4 times. Okay, you save the world about 4 times. And the thing that is just so fascinating is you can create your own story, as I said earlier. You know, you can make myth reality, you know, as J.R.R. Tolkien always says. You know, and like you can live as this great hardy dragon slayer, right? This man of great prowess, shouting them, you know, as, you know, as these dragons to death, and you know, and clobbering these great villains and these bandits and all that kind of stuff like that. Or you can be a baker. You can live in your little house and bake treats. Or you can be a farmer, or you can be a thief, or you can be a wizard, or you can be a mercenary, or you can be anything you want to be, right? And it's just and you can play whatever way you are meant to be. Like and you know, the creators, they generally put a structure of you know, like how to achieve what you want to achieve, and in some instances, you know, they kind of force you down a particular path, right? But most of the time you can create, you know, your own destiny. You can create your own meaning through your games, and you know, and it's the perfect form of escapism. These games are the perfect form of escapism, you know, to harsh worlds that we live in, and then we go into harsh worlds in the Elder Scrolls, which it's very harsh, right? There's these diseases, there's these pandemics, there's just like in regular world, there's wars, there's conflict, there's so much, and it relates a lot. Granted, you know, has all the dragons and the elves, and you know, you may think, oh, that's a little, you know, it's a little too imaginative for my light, but it does mirror reality. It does mirror the situations that we go through, and you know, like in Elsewhere, there was the Nahaten flu that killed millions, and it translates almost exactly, you know, to what we're going through, and you know, you can see the struggles of these different peoples throughout the country with their different problems, and you know, their different situations that they've grown up in, and raised in, and you know, and you can sometimes even like feel bad for them, even though they're, you know, their machinations and their creations. You know, you start to get connections with these characters, right? They start to grow on you, you know, and it starts to, you know, make you feel more for a story. And it's not just this typical archetypal story where, you know, bad versus evil. I'm sorry, evil versus good, and light versus darkness, right? It's more than that. People's lives are at stake, you know, and it's just fascinating, you know, if you put that much immersion into the game. And you know, and I have several other reasons, from the immersive gameplay. You know, the gameplay is just fantastic. The immense world building is such diverse biomes. You know, you have deserts, you have swamps, you have forest lands, grasslands, you have mountains, snowy peaks, right? You have all these other different things, and you have the realms of oblivion, which are the, you know, the basically embodiment or representation of the particular Daedric prince that controls them. You know, in like in Sheol Gorath's realm, they have, it's just absolute madness, as absolute madness. And to answer my question, because I've gone off track a lot, I know, about why it is the greatest universe, fictional universe, really truly ever. It's a mixture of creating your own path and creating your own story. It's a mixture of, you know, it not having just one vision, but the vision of several directors and several creators and several writers, people of high skill, people with skill within history, and you know, skill with English and literature, and you know, reading a lot of these books that give them inspiration behind it. And people with these vast amounts of skills, right? But also players, people who play the game, people who you know, create their own truths, right? You know, like the Dwemer were a race of elves that had disappeared forever, right? And people have different theories behind why they disappeared. Not even the developers have said they know. So, you know, it's truly powerful when you look at that, and you know, you experience this world, and it's so vast, and I would highly recommend to anyone that you play it. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me, because I will talk non-stop about the Elder Scrolls. Now, that'll be all for today. I hope y'all have a great one. Y'all stay safe out there. Don't forget to ring the notification bell, stay up to date on all my most recent content. Click the subscribe button, and y'all have an absolute fantastic day. All right? God bless. Great. Have a great one.